Hello, welcome back to We Dive Deeper. My name is Kate McGill, and this is the podcast where small talk goes to die. My guests pick at random from 70 of my all-time favourite deep, personal and intrusive questions, and some of the most amazing conversations I think I've ever had have come from asking these questions. Now, before we dive in, I would just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who has been commenting and messaging me on Instagram, letting me know that they're enjoying the episodes and listening to them, because it makes me feel so happy and so supported in what I'm doing, and I'm just mega grateful. And to those new patrons who have signed up to my Patreon to get the full episodes earlier, you guys are incredible. I would like to thank Rebecca, Imogen, Nikki, James and Kiana. You guys are incredible. Thanks for being a part of my Patreon family, and I hope you enjoy getting the full episodes a week earlier than everyone else. And if you are jealous of these 5 people, guys, and you would like the full episodes earlier, then you can sign up to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. The link will be in the show notes, or you can go to patreon.com/Kate McGill. Shout out to Point of the Compass on Instagram, who messaged saying, so excited for this. Good to have the podcast back with another season. Great work. Thank you. And we've got Amy, who messaged me on Instagram saying, thank you so much for making this series. I've just finished series 1 with the episode with Joe, and I am never someone who cries, but that reduced me to tears because it was exactly what I needed to hear tonight. Hearing him talk with peace about how he has worked through mental health issues, and both of you talking so frankly about grief and mourning, was just what I've been dealing with this evening. Bless you and your work. Bless you, Amy. Bless you and your work. Thank you so much for messaging me. Really means a lot, and I'm so happy that you're enjoying the episodes. Okay, so on to today's episode. My guest is the stupidly talented Billie Marten. She's a 20-year-old singer-songwriter from North Yorkshire, and honestly, I don't think I've ever met anyone as cool as her. I'm so adamant that I was a bit of a dick when I was 20, but I was staring at her and listening to her speak, just like, how do you have this head on your shoulders? Just so full of insight and wisdom, and her music reflects that too, just so mature, kind of old before her time. I was so grateful to her for coming over to my house and letting me dive into her brain. I got to see her play in Bristol afterwards, and I was just standing there in awe, like, who the fuck is this person? Why was she talking to me? And honestly, that's how I feel about most conversations I have with most people, because people are so wonderful, and when you dive in their brains, it's just a whole different world, people. So I'd massively encourage you to dive into people's brains, because it's fun in there. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Billie, and I'll see you on the other side. So, have you heard one of these before?
No.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
I try not to do that.
That's good. I like that. So, essentially, I have 70 of my favourite questions, like I said on Instagram.
70?
And they're 70. And you just pick a number between 1 and 70, and we have the time of our lives,
Great.
Essentially. But first of all, you have just been on tour with Snow Patrol?
Yeah.
How the hell does something like that happen?
I don't know, because I found out when we were supporting villagers at their London show at Earth, and about 20 minutes before we went on, my manager showed me an email from Gary saying, can you come on tour with us? And
Gary himself?
Mr. Gary Lightbody.
What the fuck?
And I just laughed. I didn't say yes. I just laughed because it was so funny. And then it was
mental.
kind of assumed, and then, a couple months later we were in an RV. It was ridiculous.
That is actually insane.
Yeah.
Tell me, because I wrote with Johnny McDade. He's in there, right? So that must mean you've met Courtney Cox.
We did share a bag of crisps.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking Monica and Friends.
I can't watch it ever again though.
Really?
Because, I don't know, you don't want to see her as a real
Yeah, I know what you mean.
human that isn't Monica, that isn't...
Is she as wonderful as you think?
She's the reason I bought high-waisted jeans. Like, that is her.
Really?
And that's the one series I'm kind of, like, religiously devoted to. And I watched it all the time. So now I can never watch it again. It's okay.
So that's kind of sad in a way.
A little bit. Still glad I did the tour though.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Who is your favourite Friends character? This isn't deep, but I want to know it.
So getting right to the point here. Phoebe, probably.
Wow, curveball. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I like her. And also she's had she's done loads of interviews recently because she started doing film again, like they all have. But she's in a lot of Hollywood stuff now. And she did one with Mark Maron, and he's like it's like the biggest LA podcast with all the famouses.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how she always felt in competition with the other two because she didn't look like them, and she wasn't like a small build, and she got really low self-esteem doing that show for 10 years.
Oh my God, that
But
makes
you look
me
at her character and you're kind of like, you're the most,
like,
the most outgoing,
charismatic,
confident individual. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, without shaming the other two, now she looks a lot more natural.
Yes,
it seems.
I know.
But
so sad though.
Each to their own.
I guess. Well, you live there in LA, and that's the norm, sadly.
Yeah.
And you can't. Age isn't respected at all unless you're a man. And I mean, even the guys do it.
It's so true.
Whereas over here, I don't know. There's still that whole thing about like intrinsic fear of getting old, when it has to happen.
I know.
Humans don't do anything else.
I've started using like eye cream just because it says everywhere. When you're this age, use this, and I'm like, but I'm not even 30 yet. Why do I need it? But
you're already thinking about it. Yeah. You're anticipating it, and I think it makes you gain wrinkles.
Yeah, all the fear and the anxiety about getting old.
I think they're beautiful. I think I really admire a body for it to go through that amount of time and still function, and then it's forming another sort of version of itself every 10 years. I think that's great.
That's such a nice way to look at it, and a lot of people sadly don't see it that
plainly. Well, you talk to, I mean, probably, older generations, and they're all just miserable because they're getting older.
Yeah, especially women, sadly.
Yeah, because they don't look the way they did on their wedding day.
Yeah. Do you struggle with body image on like a day-to-day, especially in this kind of industry, or do you just not give a shit?
All the time.
Really?
It's constant, yeah. I think it's a huge thing in music. In any industry that forces kind of a public representation of yourself, but that isn't just putting records out, it's visual as well. And there's I think recently there's a lot less anonymity, whereas you could listen to, I don't know, a Joni record and not know what the hell she looked like for those 2 years or what she was doing every day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more pressure to be a functioning human that also makes good music, that is, kind and approachable and perfect in whatever sense of that word.
Yeah. And you keep yourself quite to yourself on social media, right? Like, if I had access to everything that there is now at 20, happy birthday for the other day, by the way.
Thank you.
I reckon I was just a moron when I was 20, but you seem just so like not phased by it, and not kind of you don't put everything on social media. You keep yourself to yourself. Is that like a conscious effort, or do you just not really care about social media?
I don't think I care about it. I wouldn't miss it if it went tomorrow. I think we'd all be so much better if we just got rid of it. I know that it's important, which is why I still do it. But I don't like the idea that people can sort of expect life updates from you, and it's wrong if you're not doing that. I don't like that theme that we've got going on now, because quite often it's not real, and then people have this fake life that they're just kind of, I don't know, pushing on you every day.
Yeah.
Which makes it competitive, which is why this whole circle of social media just, it's been said before, but it's so true. It's just not conducive to health, to healthy living. It's just not.
How does that, is that difficult being like a musician? Because I know, obviously, I guess we have different kind of styles, and yours is much more chill, so maybe you're able to stand off a bit, but other like labels and management and stuff have been like, you need to be posting all the time, and I'm like, I feel like sometimes it's just a bit cooler if you don't post all the time. Like there's a bit of mystery there. Like you said, with older artists, they did amazingly well. They didn't have any of this social media crap. Like,
No.
do you...
And
yeah,
there's still
you
a sense of them from their records.
Yeah,
you don't need
exactly.
anything more. You don't need to know what they're wearing or
yeah.
who they're wearing. No, but it's signing to a major. There's a lot of push for social media.
Really?
And everything marketing and, you know, things like paying for adverts to post on Facebook, which I hate.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's been things like Excel spreadsheets for the next 4 weeks for each individual tweet or Instagram post or video or whatever. It's so calculated.
Yeah.
But I don't like doing that, so I don't do it.
And what about kind of photographs, and is that like because I know if we've ever had photo shoots, I've been like, right, okay, I'm going to try and lose weight for 2 months. Like, do you know what I mean? That's always been my mentality, even from very, very young. And so moving forward now, I really have to kind of think my own brain when it comes to that. Because I especially, like, if, you know, we don't have the biggest of fan bases, but if I'm going to be a singer in a band, then I want to be someone that people can look up to and not have to try and change the way I look for a photo shoot or anything like that. So that's something I'm battling with. But do you feel the same way when it comes to photo shoots or video shoots, or are you kind of a bit more chill about it?
I think starting super young, which maybe in hindsight was a little bit silly, but it still felt like everything was in control. Immediately it's kind of like, okay, so the video is going to have you in it, and each shot is going to have your face in it, and then we're going to take some photos, and there's also going to be an interview. But I think I just didn't feel classically beautiful in the way that models are or actresses are, because you don't see people that look like you in the media or anything. So I was kind of confused as to why someone would want to take a photo, which was kind of, I don't know, hard to deal with. I hate them because you need a base level of self-belief and self-confidence, and if you don't have that, then there's not that much you can do in life.
Yeah.
Really. But you just have to sort of get on with it, I guess. It's sad that music demands so much more than music itself.
Would you have preferred to have just been born like 30, 40 years ago and all this stuff wasn't even an issue?
Like you wouldn't believe.
I get that impression.
Yeah. In my head, I'm probably 53.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's why you're so cool.
I just like old things. There's a certain way of living that I just kind of feel comfortable with, and growing up it wasn't what other people were doing, and I didn't know why I didn't like, you know, things like going out or going to festivals and getting shit-faced and are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
No one was talking about anything. There was no substance.
Wow.
And I guess, I mean, I'm from a really small town in Yorkshire, and there wasn't a lot of music around. So it wasn't like, oh, I met my friends and we started a band and we did some local gigs and we did open mics. There was nothing. So I would quite often make friends with people a lot older. So if I was in second or third year, I'd be hanging out with sixth formers because they were listening to, I don't know, some cool noughties music that was going on at the time.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's an age thing.
Yeah.
And there was a big surge in house music, which just doesn't register with me. Like, I can't hear it at all. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And maybe that comes with having older parents, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there's 10 years between me and my brother Max, and he's nearly 30, which means we have older parents, but...
That makes sense then. You've kind of been surrounded by just older generations.
I guess so.
Does that kind of come into your music then? Because your recent album, Feeding Seahorses by Hand, right? I read or heard somewhere that you don't kind of do like long recording sessions. You just did it in like 2 takes. It wasn't like painstakingly long.
No, I don't know why we do that.
That's amazing. There's me like, oh my God, that note isn't perfect. I'm going to be here for 5 hours trying to make it.
No, your head does that. But you kind of have to adopt this way of accepting it. Otherwise, you set yourself so many unattainable goals. And every time you then go to a gig, in your head, you're thinking, that's not what it sounded like on the record, and I can never repeat it again. So if there's a little bit of fault, a little bit of human kind of
error,
yeah, then you're okay. You're kind of setting you're making yourself more comfortable. So, I mean, it was nerve-wracking because we were on tape, so it's not like it's a cheap way of recording.
That must have been so liberating, though. Like, once you just kind of finished a song, you're just like, that's it.
It was really nice. So nice.
Did recording it take like 2 days then or something?
Well, yeah. We went to... So I did it at my producer Ethan's house, and we were just in his lounge. It was like this. We just sort of press record every couple of hours and did maybe like 3 or 4 songs a day. Tracked everything first, just the bass, vocal and guitar, and then built everything around it the next week. So it's simple. I don't know why, most people talk about recording like it's the most hideous, grueling,
I can't
like relentless thing, because you're trying to make something that can't be made, that's too perfect. I don't know.
So true. What's your favourite part about being a musician?
Probably just feeling something in music when listening to it, not playing it really. Obviously I love writing, but it becomes something different after the first time you ever write a song. The meaning behind it becomes different. Your drive is different. It becomes a job, all of that stuff. I genuinely think it's just getting music, just living with it, hearing a song and understanding it. And I know so many people that don't listen to music.
I can't imagine.
I don't understand. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you actually doing with your life?
What else are you doing? What's there to do?
I don't know.
Put the radio on.
Anything.
And that's the worst form of music.
It's so bad.
No. Get 6 music on when you're baking or something like that. Just do it.
I mean, I realise we haven't actually asked any of the 70
Let's
questions.
go.
Right, okay. 170, somewhere in between. Go.
17.
17.
We always do a scale of 1 to 17.
Okay.
On how good something is. Vegas is 3. It's only because it was sunny.
It's too hot though, right?
It's fucking awful.
I can't, like the sweat. I'm just so
uncomfortable.
It's the worst
place I have ever seen.
Now, like hearing you talk over the last 10 minutes or so, I can understand why Las Vegas would be just so not your cup of tea.
Hideous. Hideous.
So you said 17, right?
Yeah.
What was the worst phase in your life?
Whoa.
They're deep, what can I say?
Yeah. Let's get the shovel. Right.
Emotionally or...
Yeah. Maybe... Probably 18. 17, 18.
So a couple of years ago.
Left school. Really struggled with the last year of school because everything else was so busy. So finished A-levels kind of just, but I don't really remember being there.
Just like a haze.
I just wasn't present at all. I wasn't enjoying it, I don't think. So much. It was like you're being infiltrated in your little Ripon school land of innocence, and so much other stuff was going on.
So do you mean the music stuff? Had everything started then? Yeah, because you released Heavy Weather like 2016, right? Like it was quite a while ago.
Yeah. We signed in 2015. That was the day before my maths GCSE.
Oh my God, what a life.
I know. In the photo where we're all holding champagne, and I smashed a glass because I was really nervous. My revision is under the table. It was ridiculous. But it was okay, strangely. It wasn't... You know, when you can feel a big life event is either really, really right or so wrong.
Yeah, you felt at peace.
Yeah. And everyone I knew was there. Jason, my old manager, he's the guy that I did this video age 12 on sofa in Harrogate, and that was him. My parents were there, Will from the label, my now current managers, so it felt comfortable. But so I left school and then felt like I had to do something, so I moved down to London.
Oof, that is a big move at 18.
Bad. Yeah. I thought I was going to be okay because I'd been there so much and had been travelling since I was 14. But it's such a different thing when you're actually waking up there every day and you're not getting the train home.
Yeah, like a very kind of lonely, isolating. Is that your experience?
People talk about that when they talk of Paris, which I get totally because you're in a different culture. But you're 200 miles down the road and it's still, you're just on your own. And I didn't grow up there. If you don't go to school there, if your parents aren't from there, you don't really know the landscape. It's not natural to you. There's so much you have to get used to again, like reliving again.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother moved there a few years ago and he absolutely loves it. But he's in a very different sort of corporate world. And people in that world can thrive in London because that's what it's built for. It's not built for, you know, kind of recluses that want to make folk music and run around a daisy field. It's not, you know, that's not its job.
Yeah.
So you can't ask London to do that. You can't ask for more green space or better water or smilier people.
Yeah.
Because everything is so much bigger and you're all part of something that eventually is going to lead to a change, be it in business or, I don't know, environmental or politics. It's all part of a bigger push. And I guess I just really didn't I like feeling individual, like you're not a cog.
Yeah.
So I just felt like a bit of a cog.
So were you living on your own then? Did you go straight to living on your own?
I was lodging through a friend of a friend's parents.
Oof.
Who had this big house in Crouch End, and I was in the attic. It was a beautiful house and they were a beautiful family, but it wasn't my family.
Yeah.
And
just not your home. Very, yeah.
It was surreal.
How did you cope with that then?
Not very well.
What do you mean?
I started working at a pub, which was a bad decision. I should have picked a coffee house or something like that, or a bookshop, something that was more me. But for some reason, if you move somewhere else, you kind of adopt a different personality that just isn't yours at all. And you change your accent and, you know, how you dress, and just in general you feel a little bit a little bit different. So that meant that I was doing loads of late shifts and drinking quite a lot and meeting people that weren't my people, and particularly male dominated environment, obviously. Like quite often I was just the only girl in the room for hours at a time as well.
That's hard. And
it wasn't kind of like a modern pub that seemed very equal. It was going back into Animal Farm territory.
Right, yeah. Because I feel like guys, sadly, can just be so rude to women behind a bar. Like as soon as there's that separation there, they just, especially when they're drunk, my God, they just feel like they can shout at you and...
It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Like you're a little lamb.
Yeah.
But then you're supplying them with alcohol, so it's kind of like, I have the power here, but I really don't. It's like this weird hierarchy when you're the other side of the bar. Like, they're always taking something from you, but they also can control you. And if they want you, they can have you. Things like that.
Yeah.
Really messed up. But, I mean, nothing bad happened. Like, it was perfectly amicable, but I could just see through all of it.
Yeah.
And... it just wasn't making me a nice person.
And then to not have that safe space to go home to, or a safe like group of people, or something to rely on that could just get your headspace back to a normal one for you, that must have been hard too. Because especially if you're working late nights anyway, you're tired, you're having to deal with all those people, you at least feel a tiny bit better if you're going back to your own bed, so to speak, or your own family, or just somewhere that's yours. But to go... yeah, I can see why that would be a really difficult time. Yeah. How did that kind of change then? At what point were you like, this isn't working for me, I need to change it?
Well, I kind of started in October, November, so it was really, really horrible freezing cold, miserable weather that winter that just didn't go away, like all the way up until April, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I remember that. Is that the Beast from the East?
Yes,
or something?
it was that time.
Yes.
So something got better when the weather got better, so that was okay. But I think there was one day, maybe 2:00 in the afternoon, I was behind the bar just cleaning or something, and the managers were all sat there. No one else was really in there, and they just said, "Don't look up." And I thought, okay, what's going on? They're like, "Don't look up." There was a guy outside the window who was like North London's biggest like gang runner. I don't know, the head of whatever it was called. I don't know. I don't want to go into that, but it was like, you know, he's killed 60 people, things like that.
Oh my
and everything
God.
Just got like, I just thought I got this job so I could write songs. Like I didn't get this job
to be emotionally like scarred.
What would have happened if I looked up?
Oh my
I mean,
God.
probably nothing, but still, it was that
fear,
hideous fear of yeah. At that point, I just went, I'm out of here. I'll see you later.
That is, yeah. I mean, if I mean, kind of a blessing in disguise in some way that something was just kind of enough for you to be like, okay, yeah, this is fucking awful.
I just couldn't do it. It wasn't even a dodgy place. Like it was a really lovely kind of classic pub. And I knew the owner anyway. That's why I got the job, because I don't have any experience. Like I don't have a CV. I'd never pulled a pint in my life. You know, like I wasn't meant to have that job.
Yeah.
But it just got so monotonous, and everybody just doesn't remember what you talked about the day before, and they'll have that conversation again and again and again with you, and it's like they just don't want to hear what you have to say, so they want you to ask them questions but don't want any back. It just got really frustrating.
Yeah.
And I don't think I respected that sort of community. I just don't, yeah. Anyway, my head was a bit rough then, and I wasn't doing things, you know, you're kind of sleeping a lot in the day and then going into the pub atmosphere again, and
yeah, not good.
I wasn't
for anyone.
really writing songs anyway. I got one song out of that whole 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So not worth it. But yeah, I thought I was in that stage in between. I was too young to be a fully formed, you know, functioning adult, and I was too old to go to uni and stay in halls and do that and kind of like have those 4 years of, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm going to do it anyway. There was no time for that. I couldn't do that and do music as well.
Yeah.
I went to uni for 6 weeks.
Did you?
I went to one in London. It was awful.
6 weeks?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I did English.
And why was it so bad?
No one read the books.
Oh, oh God.
And then we started the 1st of October, and that's touring time as well.
Yeah.
And I was doing it part-time, so it was 4 hours on a Monday and 4 hours on a Friday, which is super annoying because you can't go anywhere.
Exactly. Bookends of the week.
Yeah, so I would really properly make a huge effort to get there from whichever gig we were at and be at that seminar, because they proper penalise you if you're not there, and it's such a threatening kind of atmosphere, like we will kick you out of university if you don't come to 2 in a row, things like that.
Right.
So that started well, and I would lose sleep over not reading Oliver Twist, write an essay and get no feedback on it, sit down to a room of 8 people who didn't read the book and don't care, and no one was talking about anything.
No wonder
I took English.
6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm out of there. That's not good. Nobody cared, and it felt like American high school sort of human politics. If you're not wearing, I don't know, red slit sunglasses and
oh really,
and haven't got your eyebrows done, and you're not wearing velvet flares or something like that, then you're not meant to be there.
That is bizarre.
It just felt really young.
Yeah.
Really young, and I didn't like it.
It seems like, just from chatting to you, that you know yourself very, very well. You know when you're feeling okay, you know when you're not, and if you're not, you act accordingly.
I don't know. I'd love if that was the case. I would love that. I think every day I think you realise who you are a little bit more, But it's also important to remember that you're also changing every day, and there is no constant, and you don't have the solution all the time, because at one moment the solution might be go away and write 20 songs in France, or the solution might be go home and sit there and sleep, or it might be, take a degree or something like that. There's always different moments. But I think you don't have to be selfish, but you have to be, you have to look after yourself as you would another person.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning that every day. I have a tendency to be a bit of a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Which is fine in some cases, because, it's just being nice most of the time. But a lot of the time it can be putting yourself out and just doing things that really don't benefit you or make you feel good just to make other people happy.
It makes you feel like a shell because it's not you.
Yeah. Are you a people pleaser too?
Absolutely. You can't stop it.
It's difficult. I read somewhere that you also have seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah.
Is that right? So for people who don't know, what is that?
To be honest with you, I think we all have it. Definitely if you live in Europe, because we have we're so heavily affected by the seasons anyway.
Yeah.
But basically, you just sort of have these dips into really depressive episodes, and there might be something small that's triggering that in your life, but you kind of know there's this big cloud that goes over that is the weather, and it's like the earth is just making you feel like that, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Wow.
So, quite a lot of the time, if I get 2 seconds of sun, I'm out there, and my face has to be in the sun.
Right.
It's like it fills you full of, like all your cells turn yellow, something like that. I don't know.
Was there like a moment that you got kind of diagnosed then, or was it just something that you were like, hang on, I'm noticing a pattern here?
Definite pattern. Yeah. And when you're trying to explain your symptoms and you're with your GP and they're sort of figuring out which antidepressant to put you on, and even though none of them are actually going to help you, because your brain needs to teach itself to get out of that tangle. If you numb it a little bit, even for 6 months or 60 years, it's like, in a room, if there's if you've just cooked like a fish dinner and you want to get rid of the smell, so you burn a candle or you spray the whole room and kill everything with like a chemical. That's what an antidepressant is. It's just coating everything in like a fake fabricated film so the symptoms go away, so you can't smell it anymore, so you can't be in that environment anymore. Whereas I think a candle is kind of like,
you're getting to kind of like,
it's a slow burner, and it's not it's a source.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have mixed feelings because they can really, really help you.
Yeah. I think I'm more with you on that. Like, my dad's a holistic doctor and he hasn't prescribed a drug for however many years now.
Yeah.
And is all kind of about different ways of therapy. And I very nearly actually last year, I've kind of figured out now on hindsight that the contraceptive pill that I was taking just fucked me
Which
up.
one was it?
It was the mini pill, Cerazette.
Yeah.
And I'd been taking it for years previously, but last year before Mum died, it was a bad year anyway. It was such a bad year. And I only realised coming off it in March how my moods just completely transformed.
It's like a release, isn't it?
And I was like, oh my God, has this tiny little pill just been ruining my life? But I was so close in that year to going on antidepressants because it was that hard to cope with.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I didn't, because I wanted to try other means of therapy and actually go to counselling and start exercising or whatever.
Works much better.
But now I'm like, oh my God, that bloody little tiny pill. And that again, that's like another thing that you're putting in your body. You don't really know how that's going to affect you.
And it's another thing that society says you absolutely need.
Like, why do the women always have to be the one?
I don't know. But I remember going on the first contraceptive maybe age 14, 15, but it was for my skin and my hormones because everything was all over the place. And what it actually did was just make it so much worse. So much worse. But you feel obliged.
Yeah.
You feel like if you're not on something, be it anything, even a vitamin, then something's going to go wrong. Like you're unsafe.
Yeah.
It's just,
It blows my mind.
It's mad. And I hate when I feel worse than myself, my brain instantly goes, I should probably book another appointment then and see what they can give me. Rather than I need to work on getting those endorphin back so I can help myself.
Yeah. Or just like my favourite thing, which is why I love these kind of conversations and asking these kind of questions, is always just going back and back and back to be like, okay, I feel scared about this. Okay, what's scaring you? I'm scared that people are going to think this. Okay, why are you scared? And just keep kind of going back to try and figure out what is the source, what is the main thing here that you're scared about, and then work on that bit, because all the other stuff is just coating what's actually...
Yeah, it's a spiral.
You know?
I was talking about this with my mum because we're doing loads of shows up north, so I've been able to stay at home, which is
amazing.
So much better than the van.
Yeah.
And we were both having quite a small day. My bassist Kitty, she calls it when you're feeling little. When you're kind of, there is no cause, there is no effect, you're just feeling a bit...
The cloud's just there.
Yeah. We were both having a bit of that, and she was saying, I think it's a hereditary thing that you can either be a contented person throughout your whole life, and you find another person and you are content together, and you go to your job and you love it, but it's a drag, and on weekends you go out and that's that. There's no other layer. Or you can be like us, which is there's always something not right. There's always something that you have to change. There's something that is gonna go badly. You're foreshadowing something negative.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have episodes of, right, we need to sell the house, we need to go away, I need to become a gardener, all of these manic things, but we both think we say it's this big umbrella, when actually the problem is the car broke down, but now our whole life is ruined.
Yeah.
But it's just not the case.
Yeah.
And I don't know why your brain does that, but it's as if one problem isn't enough. It switches into this mode of and this and this and this,
yeah.
and this, like a shopping list of things that aren't right.
Yeah. It's almost like the brain and all these kind of coping mechanisms were at some point there to protect you from something, some emotion, whatever, but they're just not necessary now. And our brains, I think are we like hardwired to kind of go to the negative stuff so that we can always prepare for something going wrong, like back in the day being chased by lions or whatever. You always had to be one step ahead to prepare for this stuff. But now we're never ever being chased by lions.
No.
But we still have these things that just run ahead with these negative outcomes that never happen.
I did get chased by a bull the other day.
Did you actually? What the hell? How does one just get chased by a bull?
I went for a walk and I was walking with my headphones on and I was wearing red leggings as well.
Schoolboy era.
Horrendous. And I just see this thing in my peripheral, like this black
I shit myself
object, and two bulls stood up from lying down, because I was in really long grass, so they could only kind of see half my body, so obviously this thing is just moving around like a little mouse, and then literally you can see like the nostrils flaring and the big ring under the thing, and me and the bull were separated by maybe like a 2-foot little string.
Oh my fucking God.
But you're not allowed to run.
What did you do?
I took my headphones out because I thought, if this bull starts running, I'm going to want to hear it. And then I just walked really calmly away.
Were you actually calm, or were you like,
I didn't look it in the eye. There's a Roald Dahl story about, I don't know if did you ever read Cautionary Tales?
I don't think so. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to remember it.
In fact, I don't think it was Roald Dahl. The illustrator was Quentin Blake, so I think it's Roald Dahl, but
right.
I don't think it was. They're collections of like childhood tales about basically the boy that cried wolf in 100 different forms.
Yeah.
And there was one about a girl and a bull, and she jumped over I think she was blind or something like that. She was like a young blind girl that jumped over the wall and didn't read the sign because she was a bit of a rebel, and then the bull ate her.
Okay, that's
so
not how
that
I
was going through my head.
to go. You're like, I'm gonna just be eaten.
No, all those stories are really bleak. Quentin Bleak. There was one called Tom and his pony Henry and his pony Tom or something like that.
Did he get eaten too?
And one of them Tom fed his pony polos and chocolates and things that horses aren't supposed to have, so his belly swelled up. This is not the poetry that's in the book. And then the other one rode the horse so fast all the time that got too skinny and died.
These are really,
I know.
really sad.
Yeah, I loved them though.
I think if I saw a bull and I realised I was wearing red, something in me would think, just get topless right now.
What?
Get rid of all the red.
Throw it over there.
Yeah, and slowly walk away. And
no,
then
I kind of thought, I sort of accepted the fate. I was kind of like, this is the way I'm going to go. It has to be. Well, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
Fun? Being chased by a bull.
Yeah. It happened when I was recording the album as well. It wasn't a bull, but it was a herd of cows.
Oh my God, that again.
With their babies. I need to stop walking through.
Yeah, you
fields.
like a daisy field, don't you?
Yeah.
I've just seen so many photos of you online, just surrounded by a field.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do that anymore. That's the thing. They pick a singer-songwriter that's
classic
from the Dales, and they put her in the rain in a big field. But it is a natural habitat, just not with a photographer there.
No. Or bulls chasing you.
No, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to another number.
Sure. 62.
Have we?
No,
had
wait. 58.
58.
Yeah.
Interesting. What made you backtrack?
My dad was born in 1958.
Right.
And my grandparents have just had their 58th wedding anniversary.
Oh, look at you picking
yesterday
numbers like that.
Well, they came to a gig and it's the first time they've seen me since I was 12.
12?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that's a long time.
I know.
If these questions are just too much, you can just be like, next. Okay. Just as an FYI. What are your unhappiest memories of your parents?
Oh, that's interesting. I mentioned them before.
Yeah.
That's the question. Unhappiest memories.
Are you close to your family, parents?
Massively.
Yeah.
I'm trying actively not to mention them in interviews now because I think it's becoming quite a theme. But it is because they were so intrinsic to music. There was nothing else that got me into music. It was just them. So there's not much else you can... And the classic question is, how did you start music and why are you a musician and when did you write? And it's all because of them, so there's not much else I can do. But we've always been a really close unit.
Yeah.
And I've seen them go through probably a lot of unhappiness in the last 10 years, I think. First half of childhood was idyllic and everyone was happy and no one was ill and people had money and there was no recession and things like that. And then I guess, I don't know, life happens. You move somewhere else, you get new jobs. I mean, I honestly don't want to be that boasting person, but I don't have unhappy memories.
That's amazing.
Nothing went wrong, I don't think.
Okay, let's go happiest memories of your parents.
Okay. Probably in the bath. I loved the bath and I used to spend maybe 2 hours in there and then Dad would come and sing to me and we'd sing together.
That is the cutest thing I've ever
He'd bring
heard.
the guitar in. It'd be amazing.
No wonder you are who you are.
My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf. Do you know that one? So we stood 20 years on the floor. Bum, bum, bum. I used to do that. I used to do that.
2 hours though, isn't the bath water like freezing?
I was a wrinkled prune.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That was nice. We took a lot of trips to Cornwall. That was very good. 10 hours of the Beach Boys and the streets.
Nice. The streets.
Soundtrack.
Curveball.
I don't know. We've done a lot. We've moved a lot.
Have you?
We've had a lot of houses. And I was born in a house. I was born in a village called Risplith. And at the time, Mum was actually playing Scrabble when I decided to arrive. So I love Scrabble.
Yeah, I do too.
It's my favourite thing.
Have you got words with friends?
You see, I'm not a big fan of that.
No?
I don't like screen stuff.
You'd rather keep it the old school way,
Yeah.
the Billie way.
All members of the family have their own board.
Really? I love this. I'm getting such a vivid picture of you and your family and your style.
Yeah. We like words and we like music, and Mum's always written poetry, and she plays classical piano, but she can read music and I can't do that. So there was like a mystery there, and I used to watch her and couldn't really understand what she was doing. And Dad started me off on guitar, and we did loads of Loud and Wainwright was a big one for me. Chris Wood, who's kind of like this very traditional folk singer, but he was my first gig when I was 9, so I remember coming home and instantly writing a song, and it was like it was the best thing.
Wow, it sounds like your life is a film. It actually sounds like it's a film. Like, no wonder you are so musically talented with that kind of background. But wouldn't it be really fucking painfully awkward if you just couldn't sing? Like, you could write music and you loved it, but you just had a shit voice. Like, thank God you're great.
Elton's Bernie.
Who?
So his writer.
Really?
Elton John's. Have you not seen the film?
No. I don't care
cry
for
a lot.
Elton, honestly.
No, I didn't either. But I had to see that film.
Okay, I'll watch it.
I would watch it being a musician.
Okay.
Definitely. Even though, like, our worlds are very far removed from his. But there's so many kind of like
crossovers.
Yeah, massively. But yeah, he started music at 20 and couldn't write a single lyric. Met this guy Bernie who would send him words in the post and he'd just turn them into songs.
Ah,
They still do that now.
Wow, that's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's all a fluke. I don't. It's all an accident.
Your parents and your brother must be so proud of you, though, right?
I'm proud of them too.
Yeah,
we're just proud of each other. Like, my mum's just finished a degree.
Look at her go.
She's 55. She's graduating in summer. She gets to wear the whole tabard thing. Max is getting married on Saturday.
Oh my God, congratulations, Max.
I know.
So much to look forward to.
Yeah. We're on a roll.
Yeah. What a lovely 2019 you seem to be having. Just snow patrol,
It
weddings,
feels
like
really good.
Life's pretty good for Billie right now.
Yes, it is.
It's too happy. We need to get started. I'm joking.
Sorry.
Let's go for another number.
Right. 2.
We've definitely not had a 2 before.
Oh.
What do you take for granted?
Probably all of that. Probably having a really safe, happy, middle-class white childhood.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I just wrote a song actually about that. And then also moving to London and seeing so much more than you've seen in your life. Going to places like San Francisco, Crack Alley. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I lived such a sheltered village, small town life, and there's a lot of problems that you don't have and you never will because you were born into something that unfortunately had more weight in society than other people.
Does it take kind of talking about it for you to be like, oh wow, yeah, maybe it is kind of great? Because you say you take it for granted, but you're clearly very self-aware enough to know.
I appreciate it
yeah,
massively, but sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed thinking about problems that I have or talking about problems, something that I'm really ruminating on when I haven't experienced so much. But you can't compare yourself either because you live totally different lives to other people. But also there's this trend of musicians coming from a really dark background and sort of getting themselves up out of the cave or whatever to get to where they are today, to making music and selling albums. For some reason it does make you, the artist may seem better because they've come from such a hard place.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter what the music is like, but their struggle is been defeated. So
Yeah.
they're stronger than a normal human being. I don't know. There's a bit of that.
Yeah. So have you, like, what's kind of been the catalyst for your music? Like, because your music is folky, it's beautiful, it's chilled, but it's melancholy at times. Have you had kind of traumatic things that go into the music happen to you?
I don't sit down and write a song when I'm happy. I think that's the issue.
Right.
There are other things I want to do when I feel like that. And
Like
writing
go out
songs,
in the sun.
Yeah, and writing songs isn't one of them. And unfortunately, that's the only bit that gets recorded in life, isn't it? Whatever music you make. I mean, sometimes I find it hard to do gigs because I don't feel like that anymore. And when I first started writing songs, I was very confused. I'm really kind of always trying to dig to the bottom and understand what was going on in my brain, and I never could. So it's like this constant narrative that was most of the first album and quite a bit of the second, really.
Right.
Even though I would talk about other people or other situations, but in reality it would still be about me. I think that's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
For any musician. You're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
In any
But you have to do it in a really nice way.
Yeah. Have you ever been through heartbreak?
No.
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 Is that something that you think about?
Well, this is something I kind of write about a little bit more, I think. I don't understand how you can get your heart broken.
Interesting.
And I haven't been in love, so I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah. What do you mean when you say you don't understand how you could get your heart broken?
I don't know. Part of this might sound a bit autistic maybe, but to put so much into another human and for them to not give it back, I just don't know how people get themselves into that. Surely you'd know at the start of the relationship. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
I'm with you in that it's so hard to understand how it can go from something to something else when they're just the same humans.
Yeah. And there's different types of heartbreak. For sure, it's not just romantic. It's your heart can be broken all the time and you might never know why.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this deep feeling.
Have you experienced loss? Like any grief? Or?
I've been really, really lucky. I have, in our family, we're troopers.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't really know why, because we're not really the healthiest. Like, at all. We're kind of like family of Keith Richards, just English. And I don't know. Yeah, we've been kind of lucky.
Yeah.
Loss, I'm scared of. Obviously you don't want it to happen, but it's inevitable. Lots of people are afraid of dying, but I don't have that.
I don't have that. I actually quite look forward to it.
A little bit, so do I.
Yeah.
Not in a horrible way.
That is where I'm going to end it today, team. I know, it's a very, very strange place to end the podcast. Us both just saying that we will be happy when death eventually comes. But I'd actually love to know your thoughts on death, because I've had conversations with many people on this topic. Some people don't mind the thought of dying. And some people are absolutely terrified at the thought of not being alive. And I'd love to know your opinions on it, because naturally I think we're all scared about how we're going to die. But I don't mind the thought of just not being here at all, whereas some people really hate that. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Please get in touch on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, you can get the last 15 minutes of this episode with Billie on my Patreon now, patreon.com/Kate McGill. You will get all the episodes a week earlier in full. So I hope you guys enjoyed my chat with Billie. You can go and listen to her brand new album, Feeding Seahorses by Hand, on Spotify and everywhere else now. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So go forth, have a wonderful couple of weeks, and I'm going to leave you on one of my favourite quotes from The Untethered Soul, which is just my favourite book right now. I will leave a link in the description. There is nothing more important to true growth than realising that you are not the voice of the mind, you are the one who hears it. Have a lovely couple of weeks, guys, and I'll see you back here for episode 3.